hold to be a heavyweight. So today we're going to go through the top 10 heaviest boxers in boxing history, based on how heavy they were at their career heaviest. The number 10 spot is going to go to James Lights Out Toney, with a career heaviest of 248 pounds.
Burger King, here I come, baby! Burger King, go!
James Toney is one of the most skilled defensive boxers of all time. He was one of the first to utilise what's now known as the Philly shell, and he was an incredibly naturally skilled boxer. He's the only fighter on this list who started his career not at heavyweight, as he began his career at 160 pounds middleweight. But as his career progressed, he seems to fall in love with food, beginning as a generally well-built 160 pound middleweight, moving up to 168 pounds, moving up to light heavyweight 175 pounds. Within 2 years of being a light heavyweight, he moves up to cruiserweight, and finally made the full jump to heavyweight in the year 2000. James Toney still maintained his middleweight skill, getting a win over a very old Evander Holyfield in 2003, but his conditioning in that division was terrible, and it was a waste of potential to see him move up that high. He made his career heaviest in his most recent fight, 248 pounds versus Mike Shepherd, 88 pounds heavier than when he started his career, which takes us to number 9, Andy Ruiz Jr, with a career heaviest of 283 pounds. Similar to James Toney, Andy Ruiz Jr is very talented. For a guy his size, he's got very fast hands. He's got great combination punching, a great chin, and really good timing for counter punches. Ruiz came out of nowhere when he scored one of the biggest upsets in boxing history over the undefeated unified champion Anthony Joshua on short notice.
Right back in after he got this fight, as there he goes down! Delivery from Anthony Joshua!
Joshua had ran through most of his opponents before this fight, so when Ruiz went down in round 3, he thought it was over.
Joshua, huge right hand! Let me.
No idea how.
Counters! Ruiz counters and Joshua's down! Andy Ruiz knocks down Anthony Joshua here in Madison Square Garden. Diving with a big right hand that lands on Joshua. Joshua covering up. Headed down, and Joshua's down again! Down. Joshua, big left hand that stung Ruiz, but then Ruiz right to Joshua, and Joshua in trouble, losing his footing. Whoa, and now another. Can Ruiz counter? Joshua's down.
Andy Ruiz becomes the new unified heavyweight champion and made himself a massive name in one fight. But it seems that the shape that Ruiz was in was actually Ruiz at his most disciplined, because Ruiz lost focus, stopped taking his career as seriously, and gained an extra 20 pounds for the rematch with Joshua, coming in at his career heaviest, 283 pounds. Joshua would jab Ruiz's head off in the rematch, and after 5 months of Ruiz being champion, he lost his titles by decision. He then seems to take his career even less seriously, fighting once every 2 years since the rematch, including getting dropped by a very old Cristobal Arreola, and he's overall going to be looked at as a waste of potential and talent. Which takes us to number 8, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce, with a career heaviest of 286 pounds. Some of you may remember that Joyce was the boogeyman at heavyweight at one point, giving a younger undefeated Daniel Dubois his first defeat and beating Joseph Parker in 2022. Joyce is an interesting case because visually, as a fighter, he doesn't seem that impressive. He's got some of the slowest hands in boxing history and very poor defence, as well as very strange looking footwork. But because of a combination of size and boxing ability, he's able to have success. He's got a thudding jab and ability to cut off the ring. Combined with maybe the best chin in boxing, a prime Joe Joyce is a very dangerous task to deal with.
Establishes a rhythm behind that shot.
Bearing on the outcome.
This is one of the problems that Parker's going to have. From Joyce.
Good right hand, 37th birthday recently.
And Joyce does try and land some shots coming forward. There it is there. There's that right hand. And the shots. A fair use, a couple more towards the end of the round also. That might have been So he has a good chin himself. He's on the receiving end.
That's good from Parker. Good right hand. Career heaviest weight. Parker, who's been training up in, will have seen that injury.
Yeah, straight shots again from Joyce.
Good left hand in there from Parker.
To do that against Joseph Parker, relentless pressure from Joyce. That's a terrific shot. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, big left
point. I think a lot of fighters...
Round, and Joyce has responded.
Oh,
what a shot!
He's got 9, and he's counted out. It's all over.
Joyce seems to have gotten worse in recent years. In a recent fight versus Cash Ali, he was at his career heaviest weight and seemed really slow, even for his standards. A certain knockout may have ruined his durability, and that knockout came at the hands of our number 7 pick, Zhilei Zhang, at 291 pounds. Zhang shocked a lot of people when he put out for the first time in his career Joyce in round 3 with a massive right hook. Zhilei Zhang in the first half of a fight is a ridiculously dangerous individual. Similar to Andy Ruiz, for a guy his size, he's got very fast hands. Win or lose, he's put down almost everyone he's fought, and he may have the most dangerous straight left hand in boxing history. However, the glaring issue in Zhilei Zhang's game is his cardio. With all that weight, he's liable to slow down as the fight goes on.
Fast hands of Zhilei Zhang, even at 41. Look at this.
So left hand there, he's holding it to the body there.
I think this is good work from Kabayel, and it's been a great start. And trying to impose fantastic work here, middle of the ring, grinding, jump down, back that one that's really heating up. And get Kabayel.
Shipping punishment here.
What a countering shot from Zhilei Zhang, and all the success. There's the power of Big Bang. Landed by Kabayel. There's the quality in the body shots and show. Coming off those big knockouts, Kabayel, and he's looking to do the same again. Takes a count, hitting him, and he's absolutely in agony here. Kabayel celebrating. It's done. It's Dustin.
Which takes us to number 6, Martin Bakole, with a career heaviest of 310 pounds. As we enter the second half of the list, the fighters begin to lose any sense of muscle definition and become almost entirely fat. Martin Bakole definitely fits that mould. He's another interesting case where he seems to neglect the technical aspects of boxing. Most of what he does is done incorrectly. He never puts his hands up, his punches are basically thrown from the hip, and his idea of footwork is basically just walking forwards. But beneath that massive exterior there is a lot of talent. He's got deceptively good timing, as well as a lot of natural power, which is what leads to him winning a lot of fights. He came at his career heaviest in his most recent fight versus Joseph Parker, a fight which he took on 2 days' notice and very unideal circumstances.
Look at the size of Martin Bakole, huge.
He is massive.
The body with the straight
Needs to be very careful of the Bakole power.
You've got to do that, but don't get too greedy. You just think, rounds, and he should wear it out.
It's just trying to walk him down. Last 2, and Usyk he'd give him 6.
A good shot there.
It's turning into a real fight. And he was befuddled, and he's down. He gets back to his corner.
Billy
Nelson's brought him out all over. Inside 2, Joe Parker, job done, and he does it by stopping. 48 hours, he gets here, but he...
And that takes us to number 5, Jarrell Miller. Big Baby Miller was weighed in at 134 pounds at his heaviest. A few years ago, when Jarrell Miller was undefeated, he seemed to have this unrealistic combination of being 300 pounds, but also having very good conditioning, fighting at a high pace in every fight, with a lot of power, and somehow never managing to slow down. And people wondered, how did a 300 pound man fight at such a pace without slowing down? And the answer to that is quite simple. Jarrell Miller was on copious amounts of performance-enhancing drugs, which explains a lot. Miller came back 2 years later at his career heaviest, 341 pounds, where he fights a fellow 300 pound Argentinian and proceeds to look terrible throughout the fight. But Miller may have got his stuff together, because in his most recent fight versus a fellow top 10 fatty, he took on Andy Ruiz Jr. last year.
Miller dominating
underneath the eye of Andy Ruiz, but a nice shot. Heavyweight champion.
Check yourself at all times. I think he was looking at
backing himself.
Yeah, there's that right hand to the body from
Ruiz. He has nimble, sharp feet. He just got
a shot there from Ruiz. Heavyweight slugfest here between Ruiz and as Ruiz tries to fire at the end of the round.
Jack throw 2 rights to the body. His good work though.
Miller starting to put some shots together with as Miller lands a nice right hand. Stealing techniques of Miller. Here they go again from Big Baby. Has he done enough?
this bout is a
Which takes us to number 4, Nikolai Valuev. He's not the heaviest boxer ever, but he may be the tallest at 7 foot tall. Valuev made up for his lack of skill by being a ridiculously massive man, by being so tall and so powerful and so strong, and by being just skilled enough to be passable. He managed to get himself to 46 wins and no losses, finally losing his 0 to world champion Ruslan Chagayev. None of his performances looked clean, but by being twice the size of almost all of his opponents, he manages to brute force his way through almost all of his opponents. And he's the only boxer above 300 pounds on this list who's not entirely made of fat, meaning Valuev was practically 300 pounds of muscle.
Он взял из угла и налетел на эту скалу. Вот стоит Татьяну только попятиться, все, он но преимущество в весе слишком велико.
The biggest fight of his career was that time he fought cruiserweight champion David Haye.
Oh, he's got it going with a left hook. What a finish here. Haye gets to Valuev, who definitely did a silly dance there. He nearly took down the giant.
Valuev lost to David Haye, but the fact that he got to a record of 50 wins and 2 losses, despite his skill set, goes to show how the heavyweight division is. Which takes us to number 3, Gabe Brown, at a massive 367 pounds. As we enter the top 3, we start to distance ourselves from the really big but really skilled boxers, and more towards the simply just really big boxers.
As Brown comes inside and kind of surprises Etienne, who comes back punching.
Etienne with a chopping left hand inside after he was rocked by Gabe Brown's opening barrage, and it's wild and furious here in the opening moments of round number 1. And he's rocked again by Gabe Brown.
After throwing a big right hand that didn't seem to faze Brown. In fact, the left hook doesn't faze Brown, who keeps
away with a short left jab and a pretty right hand to follow, and Brown in all kinds of trouble here. 10 seconds to go inside of that in round number 7.
I think they start.
At the end of his career, Brown had a record of 18 wins and 17 losses, and his career heaviest was versus Saul Montana, which I can't find any footage of. Which is going to take us to number 2, Eric Esch, also known as Butterbean. Butterbean has to be the most iconic obese fighter of all time. He's appeared in movies, been in several martial arts. He seems to get ridiculous views when people make videos on him, and he's fought so many times in so many different martial arts that he's a full-blown legend in combat sports. But there is a bit of a misconception as to how good he actually was, because there is a rumour that he was a world champion at one point. Butterbean won a made-up gimmick belt known as the IBA Super Heavyweight 4-round title, which he fought for against guys who were like 9 wins and 9 losses, 3 wins and 3 losses, 12 wins and 5 losses, but regardless, he is a legend. And his best fight, maybe that time he fought 52-year-old Larry Holmes, one of the best heavyweights of all time.
Did Holmes, but it was short. That one got there. Right hand lead. Butterbean shakes a long time if he's a banger. But right eye of Larry Holmes. Here comes Butterbean. He's wailing away now. The 2 jabs, and they were the 2 right. Butterbean standing there, maybe trying to get Holmes to come in so he can land that right hand. Oh, that's the oh my. The right hand, overhand right. Right hand in there. And a backhand by him and punching. Now see, when he gets on the inside, Butterbean can land a few things, moves away from the right hand. Yeah, the crowd's encouraging him. For Holmes to come in. Holmes controlling this round. Oh, left hook. Sends Holmes down. Larry.
Butterbean fought at his career heaviest, 426 pounds, in an unsanctioned fight in the UK versus Mark Potter, where you can see even for his standards he's ridiculously out of shape. Because at 400 pounds the human body is very limited, and there's a reason there's only 2 boxers on this list who are that heavy. The other boxer being our number 1 spot, Dustin Nichols, the heaviest recorded boxer of all time, at 450 pounds, or 204 kilograms. I actually can't find any images of his fight versus Justin Jones, where he weighed his heaviest. In fact, the only footage you can find of Dustin Nichols was the time he fought Deontay Wilder, who, believe it or not, actually dropped Deontay Wilder for a second. But for whatever reason, the ref called it a slip. In this fight, Nichols was only about £398, so there's an extra £52 we've yet to see from him. But it is funny to look back on how Deontay Wilder fought the fattest boxer of all time, which also does go to show just how bad Deontay Wilder's opponents were at that point. And that's going to do it for the video. You may be wondering where Buggy and Wings lie on this list. They'd both be just below Butterbean at £399 and £386. Like and subscribe. Who's your favourite obese boxer? Let me know in the comments. Goodbye.